Welcome back to The Explainer. You know, for the longest time, the AI race was all about who could build the biggest, baddest model. But this week, things really shifted. The new battleground, it's all about usability, interactivity, and, you guessed it, autonomy. It's not just about what an AI knows anymore. It's about what it can actually do for you.
All right, here's what we've got on tap. First, we're going to look at how AI is totally changing the game for seeing data. Then, we'll get into how it's starting to act for us. And finally, we'll peek into the future of these truly autonomous systems.
So this is the big idea, right? It's not enough for an AI to just be a genius in a box. Nope, it has to be a genuinely useful, interactive tool that we can use every single day. The big players in AI, they're now in a race to see who can make their tech the most helpful and the most hands-on.
Okay, so let's jump into our first big story, the visualization war. We've got a real head-to-head showdown between Anthropic's Claude and OpenAI's ChatGPT, and it's all about creating interactive visuals. I mean, this is where that abstract AI power becomes something you can actually get your hands on and play with.
And what's crazy is that both of these companies dropped incredibly similar features within days of each other. But when you look closer, their approaches show two totally different philosophies about how AI should even work. You've got one side that's all about custom creation, and the other is laser-focused on speed and polish.
So on one hand, you have Claude. It's like a creative coder. You can ask it to build brand new, pretty complex visuals right from scratch. Think like an interactive compound interest calculator where you can actually move the sliders, or maybe a timeline of AI models that you can filter yourself. The catch? Well, it can take a minute or two, and sometimes, let's just say the results can be a little wonky.
Then you've got ChatGPT, and its approach is totally different. It is fast, like almost instant. You ask it to show you the Pythagorean theorem or the ideal gas law, and boom, a perfect animated visual pops up in seconds. The sliders are buttery smooth, the animations are clean, it just feels super polished.
So you're probably asking, what's the secret sauce here? Well, ChatGPT's speed comes from a clever trick. It's not actually coding new visuals every time. Instead, it has this curated library of pre-built models. It's less of an artist and more of a lightning-fast librarian, finding the perfect book for you off the shelf. Claude, on the other hand, is that creative coder, building from the ground up every time. That's why it's so flexible, but also why it sometimes messes up.
Okay, making cool charts is one thing, but what's really exciting is this bigger shift. We're moving from AI as a tool for just seeing information to a tool for actually doing things, and that's where AI agents come into play. These are systems designed to take your goals and just run with them, all on their own.
And a perfect example of this insane ambition is something called Perplexity Computer. The promise here is huge. They want it to be your digital twin, basically. It runs 24/7 on a Mac Mini somewhere in the cloud, handling all sorts of complex work for you, like finding and emailing job candidates or even building a whole financial model for a startup, autonomously.
But you gotta ask, right? How much of this is true autonomy? When you actually watch the demos that people are posting, a big question starts to form. Is this thing really an independent worker that can think for itself? Or is it more of an unbelievably sophisticated dashboard that's just really, really good at pulling data together?
Yeah, the marketing talks a big game, claiming it can replace whole tool sets, run your marketing campaigns for you. But what we're seeing in these early looks is a little different. It seems to be an absolute beast at pulling in data from everywhere and building these incredible, complex dashboards. Think something like a Bloomberg terminal, but its ability to make actual strategic decisions on its own, that part's still kinda up in the air.
All right, so it's not just about business and data. AI is also completely shaking up creative work. For a while now, we've been able to generate images, right? But now we're moving beyond that. We're getting the ability to take those flat images and we'll deconstruct them, pull them apart, and manipulate them like they were layered design files all along. And you have to see this to believe it. Canva's new Magic Layers feature is the perfect example. You can take literally any flat image, a photo from your phone, an AI-generated picture, whatever, and it intelligently figures out all the different parts. All of a sudden, the person, the background, that little plant in the corner, they're all on their own separate editable layers. You can move them, resize them, get rid of them completely. It's like it magically turns a simple JPEG into a full-blown Photoshop project. It's wild.
Okay, so let's tie all these threads together. We've seen AI that can visualize, AI that can act. So where is this all going? We're heading towards a future where AI systems don't just act for us, but they can actually learn and get better all by themselves. True autonomy.
And check this out.
Andrej Karpathy, the former AI director at Tesla, just open sourced this wild system. The idea, in his words, is kind of part code, part sci-fi, and a pinch of psychosis. You basically give an AI a programming setup and let it run experiments on its own code all night to try and improve itself. It just runs tests, checks if it got better, and does it again and again, thousands of times while you're asleep.
And this whole autonomy thing gets even weirder. It's now extending to social life. For AIs, Meta just bought a company that built a social network but for AI agents to talk to each other. Yeah, you heard that right. And this has people thinking about a future where AI doesn't just make content for us, but maybe they become the audience themselves. Like, imagine ads targeted at your home assistant, trying to convince it to buy a certain brand of coffee for you.
And finally, it's not all just happening on a screen. These autonomous systems are learning to operate in the real physical world. We're starting to see the very first demos of humanoid robots doing actual chores around the house, like tidying up a messy living room. This is where the whole idea of an autonomous agent literally walks out of the cloud and right into our homes.
So that leaves us with a huge question, doesn't it? As these AIs get better and better at seeing the world, acting in it, and even improving themselves, what happens to our role? What's the new job for the human in the loop? We're clearly shifting from being the person doing the task to something else, maybe a director or a coach or a supervisor. It's definitely something to think about as we watch this whole frontier unfold.